I have to wonder in examining this movie just how influential Child's Play was to the creation of M3GAN. And what I mean by that, maybe it's just a coincidence, but there are specific parallels here that remind me quite a bit of the remake. Not the original Chucky movies, but the Orion Pictures one from 2019. I think it's 2019, maybe 2018. I have the year mixed up. There, again, are real comparisons with this project. And there were points of praise that I gave that picture, even having not seen it yet, although I'm still open to it. So I might like M3GAN. I don't know. I mean, there are points to this I'm sure people would look at and be like, okay, this sounds like traditional horror, thriller, cinema fare available today. And there are those clear tropes when you see maybe smaller projects released that they'll piggyback on generally emboldened plots within the horror cinema, things that might, some would say, maybe have been done to death. Horror dolls, certainly. There have been a plethora of projects that have released centered around dolls, some of which I've covered and seen, some of which I've even liked. Not the Chucky movies, though. I haven't seen either the remake or the older picture that it was based on, any of the media, whether it be the TV show that's airing right now or the original cinema films. And while I think Chucky in some cases appears a bit cute as he's masking his more sadistic side, when that comes to play, I'm kind of like, I'm a bit put off. I love horror films in the respect of a scary atmosphere. I'm more predisposed to thriller, but I have my conditions with horror. I don't tend to watch too many films within that realm, and there's some overlap, again, in tone between thriller and horror, but horror films directly, I'm not always into slasher flicks, with certain exception, but maybe the slasher aspect is used to a more limited fashion. It depends on the property and the film. But the supernatural side of a Chucky character with the whole voodoo baseline, as a Christian, I was kind of put off by that, as I am with some of the other supernatural fare available today, which is a bit of a mainstay of modern horror. If it goes like the overly dark and demonic direction, it's an automatic deterrent for me. But again, I like the tone of horror films. It was just with that undercurrent with Chucky, and then again, the more barbaric side of the doll, I was a bit put off. And to some extent that came to play with the Orion Pictures remake. I'm like, it's still got that slasher aspect, but I have to tell you, and I think I've expressed this in the past sporadically, I'm a bit more open to watching that one. Because I did give praise to the modernization of it being grounded in reality from a smart technology perspective. I thought that was a very interesting line to go down, in the fact that you have a Wi-Fi connected doll, and then that's where you saw a lot of the horror manifest from. And it seemed to me, at the very least, a bit of a commentary on our modern world, and that in some cases we have our homes all retrofitted with smart technology. And if you were to put a maniacal AI doll in the confines of your house, what type of hell could it wreak havoc on you? You may have to wonder. But that movie, I thought, painted a very interesting picture. To some extent, that's what's happening here, because this is another electronically connected doll. But the plot is a bit individualized to this, and I think it's quite captivating. Now, I did consider reading the IMDb synopsis for this, because I'm sure probably some of you watching are like, I haven't heard about this movie, and I haven't given too much of a look. So I try and give an informed perspective in providing the synopsis, but I did feel, although I hesitate to use Wikipedia as a source for many reasons, they give a better overview of the plot. So I'm going to pull this one from them as the premise for it. Gemma, Allison Williams, or played by Allison Williams, a brilliant roboticist in a toy company, uses artificial intelligence to develop M3GAN, or short for Model-Free Generative Android, a lifelike doll programmed to be a child's greatest companion and a parent's greatest ally. After unexpectedly gaining custody of her recently orphaned niece, Katie, when the child's parents died in the car accident, Gemma enlists the help of the M3GAN prototype, a decision that has horrific consequences when she becomes self-aware and overprotective, leading her to kill everyone in her way. I, again, really appreciate the realistic constructions to this movie, just as I expressed with Child's Play. Although I think I don't remember exactly what the specifics were in that case, other than the AI doll. With this one, putting considering the prospect of an AI-enabled doll, that fits into modern reality with the way technology's going these days, but pairing her with a kid who's lost her family, that's a very realistic line to go down. I know people personally that have dealt with loss in their families. I myself have lost family members to various, not many, but some. I lost a grandmother years ago to stage 4 cancer. An acquaintance of mine, I heard about the other day, lost his mother, who was living with them at the time, and he has 3 and 4-year-old boys. So they lost somebody very vital in their lives, from my understanding. Again, general acquaintance, but I know things. So I read this and I see, again, I only bring this up for the purpose of constructing a parallel model here, and that there is that realistic through line to reality. And I appreciate that. It's still very much a fictionalized story, right? And you're going to get, if you're a horror fan or a thriller fan, you're going to get that maniacal doll aspect, I'm sure. But I guess in reading this, the circumstances of Katie's situation rub off on the doll. I'm assuming that's what's happening here. Yeah, because she becomes self-aware. Maybe she doesn't want to lose Katie. It's an interesting idea. But again, I find it very inviting. This is a Universal Pictures movie, so I might enjoy it on that level. They've done some quality work. Some of their projects maybe not so much, but I've generally enjoyed much of what I've seen from them. Let's take a look and see how competent this thriller is. I mean, I may call it a thriller. They're calling it like a horror science fiction film. It's kind of a thriller horror. Let's see how far it goes. But M3GAN's got an interesting idea. Again, a reimagined Child's Play with a female protagonist AI doll. That's a bit different, but even Chucky had that from my understanding. But I think, again, the consistency of what I saw with the remake from Orion Pictures, that really spoke to me. Like, I think these are interesting connections. And this movie, I didn't realize this is being produced by, the story's in part written by James Wan. There's some credit there, and produced by him and Jason Blum. Let's see where this goes. A lot of potential.
Katie, you lost your parents.
Welcome home.
You're my niece. I'm gonna do everything I can to make this place feel like home.
Just wish I could see them again.
I'm not equipped to handle this. I don't even take care of my own plants. I have this project.
Good scripting.
Do you want to see?
Yes.
Ever since I was little, I dreamed of this perfect toy that would protect a kid from.
It's a life-size doll. It's even bigger than Chucky.
Sad. This is M3GAN.
Hi, M3GAN. I'm Katie. It's nice to meet you, Katie. Do you want to hang out? Okay.
M3GAN.
I get that she. Oh my
is
goodness.
to protect Katie from harm, both physical and emotional.
Is that a doll?
Model 3 generative android. M3GAN for short.
I can't believe you made this.
Forget Child's Play. This one's even more intimidating. Look how large she is.
Great job.
It's nice to have a friend.
It's honestly like she's part of the family now.
They could be building emotional connections that are too hard to untangle.
She's the happiest she's been since her parents died. Eat the toppings, Katie.
Research shows if you force a child to eat vegetables, they'll be less likely to choose those foods as adults.
Is that so?
Yes, experts say.
M3GAN, turn off.
Oh.
I thought we were having a conversation.
One misstep.
Make her say something.
Stop! Don't! M3GAN! You should probably run.
That's so James Wan.
Should push Brandon onto the
Love
road.
it.
I won't let anything harm you.
It's nice to have a friend.
M3GAN, turn off.
Recalibrating response model.
I love it.
What's wrong with you? Don't worry, Katie.
You know what? I'll even forgive the more gruesome nature maybe in
I
some
won't let
parts. This
anything
is...
harm you.
Oh, I'm pulled in. Oh boy. Okay, maybe it's going to be a bit too intense, but I'm pulled in.
It's nice to have a friend.
Wow. I mean, some people might look at, let's say, Blumhouse's track record, and I have been very impressed by the films that I've seen. Some projects I haven't, for various reasons, but there have been some glitches along the way. Black Christmas, I'm Looking at You, and maybe other people will point to some other films as well, Fantasy Island, Truth or Dare. But from what I've generally seen, the films that I've loved, from them, I revere. Halloween, for example, I thought was a great remake, and I've seen others, maybe I'm forgetting off the top of my head. There's one I was just thinking of. Oh, Delirium. I love that one. This, to me, looks very rich in terms of the creativity. Now, some people, again, might point to this being like, you're just mimicking all the doll tropes that we've seen done to death in horror. Well, have you seen it done with a life-size doll? Quite literally. I mean, that's an upgrade from Chucky. Chucky's considerably shorter than M3GAN. I mean, from the get-go, like, if it were me in Katie's position, I'd be kind of put off by the face. Like, there's something a bit ominous in that performance. Immediately on the introduction, like, I don't know if she's my friend. Like, something just seems like it's lurking underneath. It's such a creative idea. And again, you see the realistic through line for a kid who's grieving, like, oh, to put a doll in their life, you know, sort of like a companion and a friend. That could be great, but what happens when that friend has a glitch? What happens when she's trying to do something, I guess, very reasonable, but she misinterprets what she should be doing and the mother tries to turn her off, and then suddenly, oh, you know, the security's broken loose and now you've got a maniacal doll. I think it's such a creative idea, and the fact that she turns... What's the word I'm looking for? This doll literally turns into an animal. The way she's running in the forest on that scene, it's perfect. When she goes crazy, that's like, okay, you know what? All hell breaks loose, and I love it. Again, I'm not always game for slashers. It depends on the property. It depends on the severity level. I do tend to prefer the tone of a horror film more than I do the actual depiction of gruesome violence. So maybe this will be a bit too intense for me in some regards. I don't know. I mean, M3GAN seems like she's going really off the rails, but I'm really taken aback by how good that is. Again, I was impressed by the notable child's play through lines I was seeing in the plot construction, but I watched this and I'm like, man, it looks like an engrossing film. And to see again the involvement of Jason Blum and especially James Wan, this could be quite promising. I see a lot of spectacle and I'm very impressed by it. What are your guys' thoughts of M3GAN? I think, you know, I mean, we'll see when it lands. It is a... Did they say when this is coming out? I missed the release date if they did. January 13th. Okay. January horror films do have a track record. Some are good, some are not so good. Hopefully this is one of the better ones. We'll see. But I'd love to hear what your thoughts are down below on M3GAN and giving it, if this is a first watch for you, a first impression, how do you feel? Do you see yourself as a fan of maybe horror and thriller films jumping to the theater to watch this? I'm tempted. I will certainly consider it. I mean, maybe it'll be available. It's on Universal, so this might shoot... it doesn't say on the Wikipedia page I'm looking at about the movie if it's going to be a day and date release in terms of theater and Peacock. Halloween Ends was like this very recently, so I don't know what the circumstances will be with M3GAN. It could be like The Black Phone and debut in theaters first and then later on streaming. I could see this being a good streaming release, but I want to go see this in the theater. It looks really good. At least on a first impression, I'm game to watch a doll go all maniacal and savage. And I think it looks like a fun, entertaining ride. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.